questions. Okay, this is our view that we're going back. The next step is to finish up my front view and also start my top view. So I'm looking at this line right here. It's at 6 5/8 inches from the front, so that's important to remember. 6 5/8, and it's an inch or a half inch high. So I'm going to go to my border. I'm going to create a dimension line, 6 5/8, and I'm just going to draw a dimension line, and then I'm going to bring it up a half an inch. And then I'm going to kind of zoom into that area, and I'm going to draw my line from one point to the other point. It's just kind of like connect the dots. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to delete my dimension lines that I used, and then I'm going to pull these lines back by just grabbing the handles on them. So now I have that dimension. The next thing I need to do is I need to go back and look at where my lines are located, or my holes are located. They're an inch and a quarter from the, or a quarter of an inch from the bottom, and then they're a quarter inch in diameter. And it looks like this first one is 5 7/8. So I come back. Once again, I draw my object line, 5 7/8, and I draw my line. And I know it's a quarter of an inch from the bottom, and draw my line. So that gives me my center point. So now all I have to do is draw my circle, and I can specify that's a 1/16 and an 1/8. It looks like it's a radius. So now if I dimension that, use my dimension line to dimension my circle, and I need the diameter, that should say quarter of an inch. And I can get rid of these. So now what I have is I have my circle and my slanted line. See how that's representing the front view, or the completing the front view. Now I'm going to draw my first circle, which is a 1 3/8 from the front. So I come over here. Once again, I can use a dimension line to help me out. 1 3/8, and it's a quarter inch high. And I'm going to go draw my circle, and it needs to be in a object line. Then I'm going to come back and dimension it. By using my linear or diameter. And then I can just go and delete my previous dimensions. So now I have my front view drawn, and the next thing I needed to work on is my top view. The way I do my top view is I'm going to use my construction lines, and I'm going to project all my construction lines up. Oops, I did a line rather than a construction line. So I come down here to draw. There's my construction line, and I start to project. Okay, that's why they call this orthographic projection. Whoops, I gotta use the construction lines. So I'm putting the line there. What kind of line? Be thinking about what kind of line I'm going to see. I'm going to turn this object on its side, or from the top, looking down at the top, and I've got to determine whether it's an object line, a hidden line, or a center line. So be thinking about what we would put. So I'm going to put a construction line here. Anywhere I have an edge, And it doesn't look to me like I got that one just right, so I'm going to have to bring that out on the edge. So I'm just drawing construction lines. Oop, wrong one. Okay, now I'm going to come back to my top view and I'm going to see what the distance is. This distance of 1.5 inches is how wide my top view is. So I'm going to come back to my border and I'm going to draw a dimension . And I need 1.5 inches. There it is. So now all I have to do is play connect the dots. So I have a line, I use my line tool, I line up with my dot there. That's the length of my car in the top view. And I come up here. That's looking down at the car from the top. So now I have to determine what lines can I see, what lines can't I see. The lines that I can't see are this circle that goes through or hole that goes through the front view. So that one's going to be a hidden line. What other hidden lines do you see? Are there any others? Am I done? Zach?
There's still one more hidden line on the other wheel.
On the other wheel? Right here?
Yeah.
Am I done?
No, we still got to do the other side.
Okay, I got to do both sides. This represents the wall or the side of the holes as they go completely through the block. Okay, do I have any other hidden lines left?
Yes.
Where?
The back edge where it slips.
All right, the back edge where I'm looking down at it from the top. That's a hidden line. That's correct. Now, do I have any object lines left? Is this an object line or a hidden line right here?
That's an object line.
Well, object line because as we turn it, we can actually see it. So I'm going to come up here, and there's object line. Now the next thing I do is I go through and delete all of my construction lines.
Are we going to be designing our own cars on this?
You're going to be designing your own cars on this. So now I have my front view and my top view, and I'm going to do my side view next.